Alright, Smastian here in the Lorraine 40t on the map Fjords, being a weekend warrior. Now, the astute among you may observe that I just said I'm playing on a weekend. Naturally, this is a mistake in World of Tanks. Playing on weekends is suffering. And it largely comes down to the fact that a lot of casual players only play on weekends, and because they only play on weekends, they are not as familiar with the meta as folk who play on the weekdays. This causes a number of problems. One, a lack of aggression from enemy teams and friendly teams, and strange choices of positioning. Like the following. You see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The T10 and the Type 59 put themselves in a really, really weird position. And they got... well, the Type 59 certainly got punished for it, and so did the T10 to a lesser degree. And this is just how weekend games go. Also, observe what the FV4202 is doing in C7. Why is he there? Why is he moving up, and why isn't he being punished more thoroughly by the enemy team? And why am I able to punish this T54 Mod 1 so effectively? Nothing about any of their positioning makes sense. Okay, my bad. I, over-angled a bit there. And so, a lot of playing on a weekend is waiting for a good game. A game like this where, you know, you can get 2,000 early damage, which you aren't exactly punished for. Largely because enemy teammates are out of position. Like, observe what's happening, continuing to happen with the FE4202. He should have been countered a lot earlier than now. But somehow we're able to push up the mid and start flanking around into Type 59 and T10. Nothing about the current state of affairs is typical, or even predictable in a broader sense of speaking. And so we're just able to put ourselves into positions where we're able to farm damage off of enemy teammates, because they're lined up in a very strange line along the 5-6 quadrants. And on a further note, we run into weird stalemates like up here at 9-0, where the WZ and the M4 ostensibly could push into this flank a lot harder than they currently are. But they've chosen not to. Well, okay, I'm being a bit unfair to the M4. It's a slow-firing, high-alpha gun, and doesn't have enough armor really to counter that. Now we're just going to be trading health for damage. And we're going to reload. And this is how runaway victories begin, because one team is filled with players who make really atypical movements. It's a sort of tragedy of the commons, like when one player starts making a bad move, any more players that make a bad move only compound the difficulty for their team to play effectively. And so playing weekends is a lot about being patient enough to be able to farm out damage during your games. But you will be dealing with a lot of heartache as a result of the suffering that are your teammates during these weekend games. Either the enemy team is packed with people who play hyper aggressively and don't get punished for it because your team is out of position, or the enemy team is in odd positions that somehow end up working for them. And what I'm trying to say is that there's no consistency to it. And if you can't have consistency, you can't employ proper strategy. So we'll take a quick look at the end plates. We came top of the team on damage done with 4,200 points of damage, giving us a high caliber and a Levaslejos medal for destroying 2 enemy tanks or tank destroyers with a medium tank in one battle, where vehicles are of a tier higher than you. Detailed report, we made 101,000 creds because it's a ×2 victory. And yeah, overall, looking at the team lists, we have a Conqueror. He's from Wonka, you expect him to do well. And a Scorpion G that came top 3 for damage done. And on the enemy team, you have the T-95, who was able to get so much damage because he was the last one left alive, and he has insane frontal armor. Which is another facet of why playing on weekends is so difficult, because in order to combat team ineffectiveness, either of your own or the enemy, you have to be playing vehicles that are exceptionally well armored, and or mobile, and or have high damage output. And stuff like the Lorraine simply isn't. All said and told, we got lucky in that the enemy largely ignored us, and we were able to position ourselves in places where we could farm because enemy teammates weren't covering the angles we were popping out at. Anyway, now that diatribe is over, I'm gonna say I'll see you in the next round. Like, comment, and subscribe, and do whatever feels good.